Hey guys, good morning on this wonderful Sunday morning. Welcome to Big Cosplay, and we are awake and alive at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sorry Australia, it's Sunday morning, and I'm awake. This is not good. So anyway, welcome from all around the world to everybody that's just popped on. So what we have today, we've got another interview. We have Boman Modine, who's a writer and director. Fantastic guy. I worked with him on The Guardsman, or should I say, he was the guy that pretty much ran the whole show. But he was awesome. He was great to work with, and he was a real pleasure. He's been a friend of mine ever since. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat with him today, and I'll just say good morning to Odd. Welcome, Odd Spook. Welcome, Jay. Welcome. We've got a few people streaming on in from different areas. Got a few people on YouTube, a few people on Facebook, and let's hope that we can increase this up a little bit further. So, by all means, share this as a watch party. Go nuts, and we'll get as many people on as we can. All right, guys. Everybody, say welcome to Bowman. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, sorry, your mic's live now.
Oh, okay. Thank you for
So,
that introduction, Terry. That was very warm. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something just a little bit more casual, but now you've puffed me up.
oh, what, like, hi guys, here's Bowman. Yeah, take it away.
Well, yeah, yeah. Thank you for inviting me onto the show. As you said, I've been a big fan even before Guardsman, when you were just an internet personality that I was hunting for to get us all connected and get a fan film off the ground.
Oh shucks.
And now you've blossomed into this Terminator. I was watching the videos in the feed from I guess what might be the last con, right, for a while.
Yeah, which was last weekend actually. It was the very last con for Australia at this point, for 2020. So I'm hoping that they'll have some more. But
Yeah,
nah.
we'll see how we'll see how this the state of affairs. I don't even like to talk about it. I don't even like to say the name.
State of the Union.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it'll be interesting. But I mean, if anything, it's a perfect time for you to hunker down and work on the next thing. What are you working on right now? You're working on the aggressor, right?
I've finally got the model through for the aggressor, so the Primaris aggressor, and he looks like he's going to be a mean piece of work, that's for sure. He's going to make the Terminator detail-wise look like the Marine.
All right.
So,
I mean, that's
um,
saying a lot.
yeah. For those who don't know, well, you start off at about this big, and then you go to this big, and then you go to, forget it. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, have you ever seen the guy that's doing the Dreadnought out in? I think he's in Lancaster. He's in England.
I've seen a couple of dreadnoughts, but I mean that's just psychotic. Why would you make a dreadnought? Seriously.
I mean, it makes for a better car, I guess. If you.
Well, actually, speaking about that, my dear friend Doug Ma, he did another Terminator as well, the one with the cyclone launchers on the top and
Yeah.
everything. So he's currently this weekend playing with his golf buggy and turning it into an orc battle wagon.
Wow.
Just for the apocalypse. Welcome, apocalypse.
But they something. Is he in Australia as well?
Yeah, he's actually probably about 10 hours south of me. So
Okay. There's
drive
something.
wise.
I mean, just from the Hollywood perspective, as I sit here in my own workroom here in Los Angeles, there is something about Australians and apocalyptic vehicles. Ever since, ever,
Ever since Mad Max,
yeah,
that's just our
it's
thing.
something in the blood. Like you guys seem to like the apocalypse as much as the United States like cowboy movies. You
Well,
know, like,
we kind of revel in the idea because our whole thing is, yeah, she'll be right, mate. And then the apocalypse comes along, and we're just all dolled up in leather and spikes and stuff, and she'll be right, mate.
I mean, it's only 7 days into the quarantine, but you guys have already got more spikes than a goth concert.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, we'll see.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, like, we're hunkering down a little bit. I would say that I went out shopping yesterday, which was
Mm.
probably a huge mistake, and I picked myself up a beautiful boom mic, which is added to my current streaming environment.
Cool.
um, but at the same time, I did a little bit of grocery shopping, and we've got this new thing called social distance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're saying that, 2 arms lengths apart, social distance, blah 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 blah, and yeah, weird. But I walked into the shopping center, and it's a large shopping center. It's
Sure.
kind of like a huge mall, and I could have easily grabbed the Terminator and swung it around and
Mm.
not hit a person. But
I'm
once I
actually
got,
kind of surprised personally that you didn't show up in your Terminator armor and just,
oh, the temptation was there. Trust me. I've always threatened that if somebody actually wants to like help me suit up, I will go to one of these shopping centers and I will grab a trolley and I will go through the grocery store and I'll do my shopping.
yeah, I mean, if I had the option, I definitely would. Of course, somebody explained to me because have you seen those? I don't know what the algorithm tells you in your like ad experience on Facebook, but I keep on getting those ones with the plague doctor advertisements. Have you been seeing that? No.
No, no, not at
Yeah.
all. I'm missing out on all the good stuff.
Yeah, there's something I don't know. I guess somebody's like making these like custom leather. Have you ever seen the crow helmets that they had in the Black Death?
Nope, nope, nope,
I'll
nope,
show
nope.
it to you later. But I mean, it's basically imagine like a turn of the century version of like what a hazmat suit would be with the flair of the Catholic Church. So you've got kind of like a top hat on. You've got these. It's not goggles, but it's just like lenses with just glass slid in, and then all black giant crow's face. And this is
I've seen
yeah
a cosplay of that and a guy washing his hands and things like that, washing his
yeah
gloves.
yeah
I
that's
mean,
that's
that's kind of like the Inquisition on steroids.
right, right, exactly. Of course, we have been warned here in California that if we should like tone it down and not start a not I guess not start more of a panic that already exists in the United States. Of course, we're yeah yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be received as well, but that will be my uniform come the apocalypse.
Okay, so we got a few more people have joined. Welcome Zypher. Welcome Oscar. Oscar's coming in from Norway. Says Norway is in lockdown and he's taking his fleet and getting off the planet. Love the Imperial Navy. So
I've got That's great. It's great that you have such a wide variety of people showing up. Most of our team on Angels of Death is back in Norway, Finland, Eastern Europe. It's Croatia. It's mostly a team in the east and north of Europe. The only three people that are on the western part of the planet is Richard, myself, and our producer Alexis Sterling. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool that you have a big reach. It's good to have an international team, especially
oh, it's
nowadays.
yeah, you just got to get up really early in the morning to actually do these stupid streams.
Yeah, yeah. I will say this: the corona pandemic has allowed me to really catch up on sleep lately. So thank you for waking up so early to talk to me, Terry, because I haven't been waking up earlier than like 10 o'clock since it all started.
Well, look, it's like 1:30 or quarter past 1 in the afternoon for you, so it's perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Um,
this is
about
great.
about about this time of your day, I'm going to start drinking today.
Oh, I've
So
watched that stream. Yes, I'm
yeah,
aware.
it gets quite ugly pretty quickly. So we also have Alex has joined us too.
Oh,
So
Alex Jones.
Alex Choate's joined us. So and so yeah. Anyway, what's new on your dance card? I mean, well, actually, let's before we go through to your dance card, what are we looking at? Uh, talk to me from your perspective of Guardsman. I mean, I know it was 2 years ago,
Oh,
and I mean, I know it was sort of, it was like a long time ago, etc. And we've all come a long way.
yeah.
Um, And something I'll tell everybody out there is that Bowman's wife Sarah is was actually I don't want to get it wrong. It's like she's lead camera, like main camera person.
Cinematographer,
Say again?
cinematographer, or
Cinematographer.
or a director of photography.
Director of photography, so DP. That's it. She's DP, and she was DP of Guardsman, and lugged around this monster of a camera, which I was just in total love with because I'm a real geek when it comes to that sort of stuff. So, but give us your perspective of what a like. Now, understand, guys, Bowman was the one that wrote the script for Guardsman. We went through about, I think it was at least 4 iterations of the script, where we bounced it back and forward due to budgetary constraints. We couldn't do the first one, or the second, or the third. Um, but eventually we settled on what you guys have seen, and that was what we did, and we wanted to encapsulate as much as we possibly could in that short period of time. So I'm going to hand it over to Bowman, and he's going to tell us what his opinion of the whole thing was.
Yeah. So I've been working at a company called Brain Academy, which is a Swedish production company, and they've been coming off of their network television show called Swedish Detectives, or Swedish Dicks, with Keanu Reeves, and they were looking for something new, something big. The company that they were a part of, they wanted a big IP and everything. This is around the time when Avengers was kind of ramping up for Endgame, and I mean, if you're coming from the perspective of Hollywood, you really, it's hard to find big IP that hasn't been gobbled up yet. Warner Brothers and Disney is very active in the con scene now. If they see a comic book that looks like it's going to pick up even just a little bit, they'll buy the rights to it. So it's very difficult. It's very complicated to find something that a financier is going to get behind. So I, who have been playing Warhammer since I was about 11 years old, and one of the earliest adopters of, I'm ready for the hate, Terry, but I was one of the earliest Tau players. And,
Luke from yesterday, I love you.
oh yeah, we're a diehard bunch.
Oh,
But
he's building a fire warrior, so.
You know what? A buddy of actually one of the guys on the team for Angels of Death, Michael. His name is Talmic on YouTube, but he's the guy that made one of the first Fire Warrior costumes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as well as a Shadow Sun costume too. Yeah, he's pretty incredible at stuff he's doing. But yeah. So sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, basically they were looking for something, and I said, why not go after Games Workshop? Games Workshop has had a lot of really big studios come after them over the years, and they've always said no. Everybody knows the story about Warcraft. That it was going to. They wanted to make a game for them. Games Workshop said no. Games Workshop is very, very concerned about their IP. Being true to the fan base, and even before that, being true to them, to what they think is the spirit of their IP. So they don't take a lot of meetings. They don't have a lot of conversations about it. I reached out to a gentleman over there named John Gillard and John French, who's also a Black Library author. Through my friendship and connections that existed with like Graham McNeil, who was on set with us. And is one of the voices in the box. And I said, hey, look, like let me get a chance to joust that windmill and try to get any kind of traction going. We've got this Nordic company that really wants to find something big that they can sink a lot of money into, and they took the meeting. Which if you want to have a meeting with Games Workshop, here's a heads up to anybody that ever wants to try to do business with them. Just buy the ticket and go to Nottingham. Over the phone, Skype, I don't think it works. You've got to just do it in person. And basically they said, we'll think about it. And a couple months passed and everything, and I realized that think about it is like that could take years. So I reached out to a couple other friends, Alex being one of them. Eventually, you, Terry, Rich, who had had success with the Hell's Reach animated series, uh, and I basically said, why don't we try to uh, make something that has all of the bells and whistles to show Games Workshop that there's a crowd that's interested. We have the professionalism to basically pull something off and do it obviously on a budget, of which our budget was very, very small. And yeah, and so I wrote a couple versions. The first version is the version that I want, and Terry, we will do it one day.
Yeah, look, we're going to do it one day, and I mean, it was really, really, really good, but my God, it'd be so difficult. I mean, we'd need 10 times the budget just to do that one scene.
Yeah, I think Alex remembers. So originally, before Richard Boylan got involved, we had talked about like full-on trenches and try to do something at a company called Practical Magic, which they do a lot of really cool stuff. If anybody wants to look into them, they actually ended up doing with Dunkirk with Double Negative. But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I still have a friend who has a tank out in Utah who says if I want, all I got to do is pay for gas,
Oh, look,
which might be a perfect time to pay for gas.
it might be a perfect time to pay for our gas has gone down. But um, yeah, that script was pretty intense. I mean, we had a hovel, we had multiple actors, we had lots of screams outside, we had this farm environment with sweeping fields of some sort of grain. We had
Alien Grove. Yeah.
yeah, alien grain. We had 40k cows, which were called
Rocks.
groks. Yep. And then we had the piece de resistance was a drop pod with a space marine coming out, charging
Yeah.
out of it.
I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, you can build a space marine, but you can't build a drop pod. Come on, Terry.
Oh, I can build it. You just got to pay for the shipping.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we even talked about it for a little while of shipping the production out to Australia, just because Australia seems to have such a like involved and growing Warhammer 40k cosplay community. But
And an alien landscape, or plenty of alien style landscapes that we could
sure,
use.
sure, it ended up making more sense to just doing it in LA because as much as expensive as it was to ship out Space Marine stuff, the foam, it would have been way more expensive to send out the camera equipment. Um, so we shot it here in LA. At that point, Richard got involved. Originally, we were going to co-direct, and then basically I mean, it's kind of when you're a producer in Hollywood, you gotta think about the long game, right? And my hope was to be able to try to get as big of an impact as possible, just to go and knock on the door of Games Workshop, and that meant it's everybody loves a like small time story that gets picked up, and so it made more sense that Richard be the lead director on it. He didn't have too much experience on set, but through basically me shepherding him, and working, making a really good team. Alex being one of them, my wife being another. It was like a group of, I mean, the closest you can get to like a group of friends making a short movie in a very small amount of time. So he then took it back to Canada, where he's from, up in Montreal, and yeah, I mean, it worked. It took about a month after we released. Guardsman was incredibly successful in terms of the amount of views that we got, and yeah, then John French gave me a call back and he was like, so like, let's talk about it. The thing is, I'll and I can say this. I will say I can't talk a lot about Angels of Death. It's going very well. We'll have stuff to show you pretty soon. Coronavirus isn't going to slow that down, but it's really in a lot of ways I didn't see it coming as being an animated show. When I originally was pitching Games Workshop, I was only thinking live action. And when they wanted to go animated, then it totally made sense to link up with Richard again, who has an incredible resume when it comes to the animated medium, and the hope is to just keep going. Will after Angels of Death, I want there to be a second season. I want there to be other projects, and obviously with the announcement of Eisenhorn, I now know why we didn't get the live action slot.
Yeah, Eisenhorn kind of like jumped in and took that little puppy, but
Yeah. Well,
let's.
it had been a while in the work, like in a lot of negotiate. Things had been stirring. There were
Hmm.
rumors abounding, and so it made sense when we found out what it was, and I'm super excited for that.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room, Guardsman the movie.
Ah, yeah. Um, totally. Let's talk about it. Yeah. So first and foremost, I'll say that my heart is in live action. Um, I grew up on sets because of my dad's work. Um, my sister's an actress. I've been, if my career, which basically started in around 2012, has always been to be in live action. So yes, Terry, I would absolutely love to do a live action 40K movie in the same realm as Guardsman. What I'm hoping for is that the next time we can have a budget. And if we play by the rules, I don't think that there's any reason why. A lot has changed with Games Workshop over the past couple
Hmm.
of years. And speaking as a fan, of which I am, I would say that if you look at Death of Hope, which was recently released, or Astartes,
Hmm.
who I've talked to him several times. It's a very rich environment right now where I think that Games Workshop has realized that instead of shutting down fan projects, which aren't making any money, by the way, the artist can through Patreon and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Uh, but as long as you're not selling it to a movie theater or Netflix or whatever, it feels like Games Workshop realizes that it's good publicity for the game. So as long as we play by those rules, I don't see why a live action Guardsman feature wouldn't
Well,
be better.
yeah, let's talk about that monetization for a second. I was speaking with Chapter Master Vorak over in the UK, and he hasn't been chased down by Games Workshop legal or anything like that. I got a lovely little email from them for making some coasters.
Oh, yeah. See,
So here's no, this is the rule of thumb is if you're driving business their way, they're not going to disrupt that because it's free advertising for them, and that's perfectly fine. That's the way it goes. So in that sense, you can turn coin, small amounts of coin if they're turning more. They're not going to pour out the bottle of milk just because you're taking a sip from it.
sure, that's a good way.
But in that sense, I think that we're still going to need their permission in some fashion, form, or otherwise, and because I want this one to be a big puppy. I mean, so we're either going into a series or a movie or something that's going to be big. It's going to be high budget. I've got the dream going on.
Sure. And something I will say, and is that I think that there's a lot of opportunity right now with the way that, I mean, just short of a pandemic, there's a lot of opportunity for people, to get involved. When the Astartes channel went down, for example, you saw a massive outpouring of the community trying to help him or supporting him, and then eventually it came back. If that's an indication of the interest level for this brand, for this intellectual property, then yeah, then I would agree with you. The only thing is, yes, you've got to make sure that you're not monetizing a product, which could take away from something that Games Workshop wants to make themselves. Coasters, for example. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
very true, very true. So, I mean,
yeah.
um, all right. So we got a couple of questions coming in.
Oh, yeah.
So going back a little, Toby Ward, yes, we are allowed to start drinking. Albeit I'm going to hold off because it's 6:30 in the morning, and that's uncalled for at this point. um, so Odd says his Fabius Bile is ready for the next movie. So,
Mm.
Jess, she wants to know if you need any voice actors.
That's a
Um,
great question. And the short answer to that is always. The only thing is that when it comes to officially working with Games Workshop, that's not my call. So I personally, as a filmmaker, I always need voice actors. It is an incredibly complicated job, and based on the sound of my own voice, I can't do it myself. I can't do it. But if you are interested in voice acting, yes, please go to the Guardsman Facebook page if you're a member, and just call me out, and I will definitely take your information down.
Well, guys,
Um,
just hit me up, on
okay,
Messenger,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll send the information through to Bowman, and he can take it from there.
Yeah, I'm in the it, while because Angels of Death is such a long project. We've been working on it for a while. I have other plates spinning, which I think which are which always need some kind of expertise or support or involvement. And yeah, we can have that conversation later.
So Spook actually just asked also, is the animation that was shown on Angels of Death in the trailer, was that the final?
No.
Didn't think
Uh,
so.
yeah. No. So the thing about animation that I've learned, and it has been a learning process, is that it's never really done. There are always new things that need to be improved upon. Uh, Unreal, for example, which is what we're predominantly working with, goes through an update and it makes something easier or better. We go back, we improve it. There was I use this XSense suit, which these are these little sensors right here, and I place them all over my body, and that gives much smoother data back rather than the one that we were using about a year ago. So there's always things to improve upon, and that was kind of if anybody watched the early Sonic trailer, do you remember that, Terry?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was frightening.
Yeah, we're not that far behind, but yeah, like think of it a little bit like that. There's a lot of improvement that's going into it. Sound has to be finalized. Color. That was just a teaser for the benefit of the fan base, and it's a feather in Games Workshop's hat that they want the fan base to be so a part of the process. But they're new to it too. They're just cutting their teeth on media and how media is consumed. And so I think, because it's hard not to read the comments when you do let one of your babies loose. Yeah, I wish we could have, just said like, final music, final sound, final everything is yet to come, and it won't be released until it looks the best that it can within our abilities.
So we got Spooks just put up. When I posted the trailer on Reddit, the biggest complaint was about the animation and the voice acting felt flat.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, he's kind of right. I mean, but understand, Spook. It was also, it was pre-release stuff. So most of that was just out there to say yes, it's coming. It wasn't. I don't believe it was a fully polished, trailer, etc. Um, because it was in amongst a whole bunch of other stuff in animation too, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's crazy. When that got released, I didn't know about that stuff either. I didn't know that there was going to be, more of a hand drawn kind of animation thing. Or I had heard about the kid stuff, or at least rumors about it and everything. But yeah, no, it's something that it just takes it's a long process, and when it's released, we should have this conversation again.
Oh, we're
and tell me.
definitely going to.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of that, we're going to, hopefully I'm lining up an interview with myself, Bowman. We may even get Alex on the line for a bit of a gas bag as well. Um, and then we'll also have another interview coming through where we'll have myself, Bowman, and Chapter Master Volrak talking about Angels of Death after the release of the first episode or trailer or whichever's coming out first. We're going to have a little bit of a gas bag about that. So, is there anything you want to add on to the stream at the moment? Do you want to ask anyone else questions?
Do I want? I'm open to obviously like look. The NDA is pretty intense. We're not allowed. I can't. I won't talk about Angels of Death very much, except what's already out there. And yeah, please help me by not trying to catch me saying something. Stop me. I don't want to. I don't want the train to stop. But I will say on a personal front, the team that was put together for Angels of Death, it's an incredible group of people. They're all 40K fan filmmakers. Cloud Judgment, who did a short called Fortress Monastery, is on the team. A gentleman named Joaz, who's responsible for, if you've ever played like Arma, the Space Marine models that are in that, or the Titan models, he made those. It's kind of like a veritable who's who of the Warhammer animation fan film community. And we have loved working together so much that Cloud Judgment, his name's Ugo, Ugo and I, as well as Karos, who does a lot of fan films as well, Talmik, Joaz, all of them. We've decided that we also want to, kind of keep the ball rolling. And we're just going into more stuff. As things enter the post process, every now and again we have a little bit more time, especially like right now, where we can focus on some other fan projects. So there will be more. What I'll say is that there's going to be more Warhammer 40K fan films in the near future, and it's going to be focusing on some factions that don't normally get fan films. So that's what I'll say there. I hope that that's cryptic enough to entice.
Oh, I think that's cryptic enough.
Yeah.
So Alex has come through and says Terry's guests are probably sick of NDAs. Uh, little
Yeah.
bit, little bit.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, I mean, I get it though. I get it.
Oh,
You gotta
it,
you
yeah.
gotta keep everything under cover these days. Otherwise, you know.
People aren't going to pay for what they already know is coming, so which is kind of annoying. So you got to sort of shock them into it, and that's why we've got NDAs, and we don't want other people going ahead and stealing our crap. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
all
You
good
know,
with that.
yeah. Yeah. But I think it's good to have conversations like these that are done in the public. To know who you are, know who I am, your guests. It's good to have. I mean, we live in the information age during a quarantine. If you don't have live streaming, what are you gonna keep watching Netflix? I've tapped out Netflix after day 7, so now.
I tapped out Netflix months ago. I'm watching reruns of reruns.
There you go. I actually went through my DVD and VHS collection. Here, wait, just a sec.
Oh dear.
And do you remember Horatio Hornblower?
Oh yes, I do actually.
Yeah. So I haven't watched these since college, and I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna just in between writing, of which I'm doing something for Black Library. I've also got some scripts that one of them is about Krav Maga, which I don't know if Terry has seen me in person. I am not a Krav Maga specialist, let me tell you. But I've got a couple stories going. But what I'm really excited about is finishing these models, where
Oh, getting your paint on.
yeah, I mean, I've basically taken what are they, the Space Marines wearing Space Marine armor. I forget what they're called. They're not Contemptor battle suits. I forget what they call. I've never actually seen them on the tabletop. I've only ever seen them. It's basically a Space Marine wearing Space Marine armor.
Oh,
Have you?
okay. That's no, I
Yeah,
haven't seen that.
you haven't seen it. I have them somewhere. There you
I'm gonna have to
go.
build that.
Yeah, I'm basically hacking them to pieces and making. Did you ever see that Tom Cruise movie, Live Die Repeat? Or
Yes, it was called something else here. It's called
it had like
tomorrow, something tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So that's what she is. The idea is that she's got those you remember how they had those like plasma projectors on her back?
Yeah, they looked awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I will be watching Horatio Hornblower and painting.
I'll trade you. You can come and paint my stuff. I'll paint your little miniatures.
Hey. There's a lot to be said for your big broad strokes, but you know what? It's all
It's
with
all in the detail. Yeah, I've heard that
with
before.
only like one horse hair, like for the that's where I won't be able to do this in a couple years because my hands will be shaking so much.
So we've got well, we're up to okay. Spook wants to know if we've reached out or you've reached out to the guy who made Astartes or Death of Hope.
I have reached out to the guy that did Astartes, and look, with his privacy in mind, he's doing fine. You know what I mean? He's got self-determination. He's telling the story that he wants. He doesn't have to answer to. I think it's him and his brother. They're in New Zealand. I think they work for Weta. And he's exactly where a filmmaker would want to be, which is he's got a great following, dedicated fan base, and he gets to be his own boss. So I think that when anybody, and it's every other comment on his YouTube when somebody's like, oh, Games Workshop should reach out to him. I don't doubt that Games Workshop is. If I've reached out to him, I don't doubt that Games Workshop has. But when you're an independent filmmaker and you're making the money that you need to survive, there's something to be said to staying an independent filmmaker. Not everybody wants to be Spielberg, and not everybody and some people want to be Kubrick. There's a difference. Um, and when it comes to the Death of Hope, um, hmm, I've never talked to the guy. I've never talked to anybody who knows him, but I would say that guy wants to is the other side of the coin in that he really wants Warhammer 40K to be. I mean, just look at his videos. He's got a disclaimer in the beginning. He's got a fairly heavy track record and opinion of what Games Workshop, or excuse me, what Warhammer 40,000 should be. Uh, I think that he is doing a good job of telling that story, of the story that he wants. That whole thing with the kid and people being tortured and stuff like that. And I think he perfectly nailed what the warp is like. I think he's telling the story he wants to tell as well. And yeah, and I think that they are where they want to be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure a phone call from Games Workshop would change anything.
Yeah, I don't think it would anyway. So,
Yeah.
with a lot of those guys, I mean, they're already above and beyond GW. I mean, they're that step ahead that all they're waiting for is GW to throw them a big paycheck and say thanks for your efforts. Um,
And we're in a different world right now. I mean, Disney. So a couple years ago, I put together a team of people to do a Star Wars fan film because a friend of mine told me that J.J. Abrams was looking for content, was basically, and then shortly thereafter he said, yeah, send your fan films to me. It kind of, I mean, to me that kind of translated to they might not know where they're going. Except, I mean,
yeah,
I
well,
don't
they needed a direction, an angle, something.
Sure, sure. And so I put together a team of people in the very same way that I did with Guardsmen to try to get something off the ground. But I mean, one thing led to another. It didn't end up happening. We shot some test footage, but if you saw that Darth Vader Obi-Wan reimagining.
No, no, I'm not. I'm not a Star Wars person, so
Yeah, I'm not either really, but anyway, it was a really amazing short film that a buddy of mine actually ended up doing, and yeah, now he's in talks with Disney. The thing is that when the owner of an IP takes notice of you, all they've really done is they like your work, they like the way that you've executed their product. Now they want you to do that with their stewardship, with their instructions. So
yeah,
so just because Disney calls a fan filmmaker up doesn't mean they're just going to let them run loose with it. They did that 5 or 6 years ago, and it didn't end up well on a couple different projects, of which I won't go into. But but it's one of those things that you really like when you start working for a company. You work for a company, and they tell you the direction that they need you to go in, and it's you've got to. I mean, you become an employee basically, right? So that would be my long form answer. I very much want that. I have been, like I said, I've been a fan of Games Workshop since I was a kid. I think that what they've done with things like the Horus Heresy are genre changing. I don't think that there's anything like Warhammer 40,000. I'm less of an Age of Sigmar or fantasy fan in general. I love Grimdark. So I and Richard and the team that we have very much want that. We want to exemplify what's there. And I would just say that a lot of other fan filmmakers probably have their own story that they want to tell through the lens of that IP. And that's just a different type of storyteller. That's not a knock on anybody, you know.
yeah. And it's kind of like having me in the mix. It just totally screws the whole pooch on the whole lore thing.
No, I mean, look, in my heart, I wish that I almost, if I was Games Workshop, I would like hold like a summit and invite all the filmmakers and fan filmmakers all over the planet, invite them to Nottingham because it would have to be in Nottingham, and start a studio. That's what I want to happen. I like the Kevin Feige approach to filmmaking, where you just you get fans in charge of the story, and you go forward. We'll see
I
what
think,
happens.
yeah, I think doing something like that would probably end up in chaos because everybody would be, it's like I want it my way, I want it my way,
I mean,
and
but that's why you need a Kevin Feige type person to be able to
yeah, I
hear
don't,
everything.
I don't know
You
who
know,
Kevin Feige is, so
that runs Marvel.
oh, okay, all right, well there we go.
Yeah.
So we've what have we got? Spook says, do what do we think about the new Star Wars trilogy?
Oh, I don't talk about Star Wars.
It's like Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, look, I'm I work in Hollywood. I have a family. I need a paycheck. Uh, I don't publicly talk about Star Wars, of which some stuff I really like. Alex is probably cackling in his chair right now.
He is by the looks of it.
Yeah, but like it's one of those things. You just I don't know. What it took like 250, $300 million to make the last Star Wars film, give or take. I have no idea what it's like to try to make a movie with that amount of money. Like I think to a lot of people, money equals freedom. Like I've got the GDP of certain countries to make this movie. Like it sounds like you can do whatever you want, but at 250 million, really, actually, anything above I'll say $2.5 million, you got to answer to somebody who's giving you that kind of money. $1 million is a lot of money. It doesn't matter the currency. And when you're making a movie, you're beholden to make that money back. So I don't know. I don't want to knock another filmmaker for making the decisions that they had to when it could be that there wasn't a decision. They were told to do something or not. I know that the movies made their money back, so the job of the filmmaker and the storyteller in that regard was accomplished. That's what I'll say about Star Wars. Uh,
So, yeah, and that's where we'll leave Star Wars.
yeah. If you want to talk to me in private about it, sure.
So, I mean, yeah, Star Wars is Star Wars. I mean, I don't mind the story run, etc. And but I think they're bleeding it to death at this point. That's my own personal opinion. And I think
When
they
you
need
buy, when
to.
you buy a franchise for $4.5 billion, you know, and you want
Yeah,
to
you've got to
make that
get your
money
coin
back, right?
worth.
I don't
And
like I don't like the idea of money and storytelling being synonymous. So I agree with you in a lot of ways. So
look, I mean, they've got a lot of the old actors, unfortunately, are already either dead or dying. And they were fantastic from the original films. I actually did like the original films.
you did
The
sorry, you didn't like the original
I did,
films?
I did. I like the original films. I even like the bloody Ewoks. Come on, seriously.
Okay, so I will talk about the Ewoks because
Okay.
because I'm going to defend them. Everybody was like, oh, they didn't have the budget. They wanted it to be Kashyyyk, where we were going to see like Chewbacca's people and stuff like that. Okay, fine. Let me just say something.
So
Like,
they didn't have enough money for the costumes. They had to make them smaller.
sure, the mythology of why we're not on Kashyyyk versus Endor, like, okay, whatever. Let's just look at what an Ewok is. An Ewok is a diminutive, Ursine-esque, teddy bear-looking creature, right? Okay.
Mm.
Uh, they haven't progressed beyond basically like a forager level of civilization. They have stone weapons, and these guys took out the Emperor's best legion of troops. And not only that, but they then ate them. Everybody seems to forget that really cute moment when Han Solo is tied up and there's a bonfire underneath him and he's going like and trying to blow it out. They're going to eat them. They're going to
He's lunch.
Yeah, they're going to eat these guys. As cute as they are, maybe the brilliance of George Lucas or the brilliance of being told that they didn't have enough money to do the Wookiees, they created a species that is terrifying, you know? And I don't ever want anybody to forget that it was the Ewoks that won the Battle of the Shield Generator. Keep in mind also, everybody's like, oh, I was tired of these teddy bears and they're so cute and everything. They also get massacred. You see a mother and her child running away from being shot, and and I think it's an ATST blows them up, and the baby gets up and goes, mama, mama, oh, like it's a it's really rough for a PG movie. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
So I
look,
got
it's frightening for a PG movie, and you got these tiny little fluffy things that are all cute and everything. And do you remember the movie Critters?
yeah,
And do you remember the movie well, I mean, we had a
Gremlins.
whole series
Yeah, Gremlins.
Gremlins. It's
Yeah,
like
small fluffy.
hello, we had a theme
Oh,
going. It's like if it's cute and fluffy, it's going to eat you.
yeah. I mean, look, wait, bringing it back to 40K. I mean, even the Dark Angels have the little Watchers in the dark.
Yeah.
If you ever read anything about those things, they're like trans-dimensional beings that are making sure that like the Dark Angels like follow a certain path and everything. And it's like, wait, what? Why do they look like Ewoks in robes? Why do they look like Jawas? Jawas are
Oh,
terrifying.
don't even get me started on Jawas. They're evil little bastards.
Yeah. So anyway, all I'm saying is don't trust the furry short ones. That's all.
Isn't that what we say about everything? So, all right, Bowman, is there anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I actually I tried to see if there were any questions. If there are, and we didn't cover them over the course of this, please reach out to me or Terry. I'd love to be invited back. Thank you so much for bringing me on in the first place. I'm a longtime fan of yours, and I don't think I've said anything that crosses any lines or anything. But if I did, please let's just keep it to us.
No, I think you were good. You were good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun coming on, and thank you for having me.
Not a problem. All right, guys. So that's it for today. Or actually, sure to say that's it for this morning. We have another interview coming up very, very shortly as well. But Bowman, thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing. It's been a really good morning. And if you have any questions whatsoever for either myself or Bowman, just shoot them through on Messenger or on the chat of this live stream, which is going to be on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and Daily Motion. But just remember, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. That way you know when I do these stupid interviews at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, it's going to wake you up when your phone dings. All right, guys. On that note, thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you soon again.